How's it going?
Yo, I'm kind of glary in here. Good. How are you? It's been a
Good.
minute.
I
It's been a
know.
long time, man.
I think the last time I seen you was at Style Elements anniversary.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's
what,
a
four
couple,
years ago?
at least, yeah, at least 3 or 4 years ago for sure. It's been a few, so it's good to
I
see you.
know. Yeah. You okay?
There you go. Well, yeah, there we go. I think it's working. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what's good?
So,
So I
yeah, so
love
what
all
up?
these little interviews, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I just kind of got the idea. I was like, I wanted to really just start documenting things, for 2020, because I've always had all the classic footage from back in the day. And
Yeah, you are.
I was like, yeah, I've always like, you know what? Let me keep it going, like in a new twist, though, So, um, is it the Wi-Fi?
I think
I can.
so.
It's a part of the air.
Kind of like spinning on you. So I switched over to just my data. So hopefully that should work.
Okay.
So there we go. Sorry
Yeah.
about
So
that. We're
what?
still figuring out all these technological like tweaks and things, you know.
Yeah.
Little lady.
Okay.
But
So yeah. So what I did everything, and yesterday I reached my 100 mark. So I've done 100
nice,
interviews.
dude. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's dope.
So so now I'm just thinking like my next goal is to go to I'm gonna go to 200. Somebody just messaged me right now. Let me just send my message.
Sure.
Let's go tonight. That's my jam. Um, yeah, so like with that being said, I was like, you know what? I had thought about you, because I was looking at some of the footage
Mm-hmm.
and I seen the clip that you put up, that the one that I
Yeah.
sent you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know what? She has an amazing story though too, so I wanted to talk about that too. So
Dope.
can you tell me like how was your early beginnings though? Like when did you first start getting into dance?
So I've been in dance since I could walk, really. Dance
Mhm.
and roller skating as well.
Yes.
So I mean, I started as a classical dancer with just ballet and got into tap and jazz, but primarily ballet was my forte growing up.
Mhm.
I was a national champ by 16. I was competing
Mhm.
for ballet point, and that was my life. And when I was going into my freshman year in high school, I started to realize that like I had school and I had dance, and it
Mhm.
was I was starting to feel really kind of stifled with the dance because it was such an controlled environment, and
Yeah.
so like had to be perfect, had to be like just very restrictive in a way, even though dance is such a free movement, and but
Yes.
with the ballet, I was so just restricted, and I was starting to lose the light that I had from it, or that I
Mhm.
would get from it. um, and so my earlier years, dance was kind of like my safety zone from the really
Yeah.
bad shit that was going on at home, and so
Mhm.
I was in this weird place of what dance was to me. And it really was until I was going into my freshman year of high school, and I met my homie who was a senior, and he was actually the DJ at the roller skating rink that
Oh,
I
nice.
frequented, and so like he introduced me to just so much hip hop, so much just eclectic range of everything, high energy house, everything. So like
Yes.
my first 3 CDs I ever bought, when because CDs were just starting to become the thing a long time ago. It was De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. It was
Oh,
Kraftwerk,
yeah.
and New Kids on the Block. So I was like all over the map with music because it was just so new and like so fresh. And so like with him, like, you know, introducing me to all this music, there was also like, you know, in the quad during lunch, everybody be out doing party dances, Running Man,
Oh,
Cabbage Patch,
okay.
you know, all that kind of vibe. And it was just like, yo, this is fun. Like I'm having fun with my dance again, you know? And so
Mm,
I was kind of like counterbalancing the all the classical training and then just doing this like bug out, you know, and just like this
uh-huh.
freestyle dance. And you know, so like going in through my high school years, I was still competing in dance. I was on a dance team and the whole nine. And but it was really like 1992 where I started diving in
Oh,
head first into all the raves here in the Bay. You know, all the underground parties, the hip hop parties, Cactus Club, you know, like, you know, all
yeah.
these, you know, sneaking into most of these places because I still wasn't old enough, you know, and just
Did,
being blown away.
did you, I'm sorry, did you ever go to Hollywood Junction?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. That was where like Seth, myself, Gabi, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Bob, the balance, like we would all go there, and that was our stomping grounds. Hollywood
Yes,
Junction
I
for
was
sure.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, so those that was at that pivotal point, like I'd say 92, 93, like right when around when I graduated, was when I was like, you know what? I'm putting this classical dance away. I'm not going to
Mm,
throw it away, but I'm going to put that away because this is where I need to be, you know? And so like
mm-hmm.
this underground community and culture was speaking to me so loudly, and you know, it became my family. I didn't have a lot of blood family, you know, like to connect to. I don't have a lot of cousins that I could relate,
Okay.
and just really wasn't close with much of any of my family at all, you know, except for my mom. And you know, so my crew and like these guys that I was dancing with, like they're my family, you know. And so
Mm-hmm.
that became the backbone of, you know, us doing it to this day for the most part, you know, like
Oh,
being
yeah.
together and dancing with each other and just being so hungry to learn to you know, figure out how to do a move, how to do a backflip, how to do a 90, do, you know, like anything and
Mm.
everything. Like we would be, you know, 4 a.m. in a parking lot in the most random place, wherever we could find, you know, speakers in the car playing and just
Oh,
practicing
really?
nonstop. Oh yeah, all the time, all the time, you know. And so that's kind of like really where, you know, that 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 freestyle element of our dance, or my dance, came from. And I always try to, you know, fuse what I knew from my classical training of my
Mm.
spins, you know, my footwork from tap, or, you know, capoeira, like a lot of the floor work and stuff, because I was training a lot of capoeira in those early 90s, you know, and we were just trying to do cool shit, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So, like that's kind of really the those formative years of my freestyle dance. And you know, like, and that was what was so beautiful about with the people that I was dancing with, you know, like we never wanted to be just a b-boy or a b-girl or
Oh,
just a
yeah.
house. I mean, now that at the time that term house dancer wasn't even really a term, you know, but people would say, you know, what do you do, you know? Oh, well, I'm a freestyle dancer, you know. That's how we would respond. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
and still to this day I wouldn't say I'm a whacker, I'm a voguer, I'm a, you know, this or that. Like I'm a dancer. Like through the music, which direction or what the story is that the music is telling me and how I'm connecting is how I'm going to try to relay it, you know. So that's a
That's so
big piece
true.
of it, big piece of it.
When
Yeah.
you were when you're living in the Bay, what city were you living in?
I was born and raised in San Jose, and
Oh,
I moved to Gilroy for 2 years of the beginning part of my high school years, where it was in Gilroy. Actually, I was staying with my grandmother at the time, and then
mm-hmm.
I came back to San Jose, and then about, gosh, I think in '99 I moved down to San Diego to go to architecture school. And at
Okay.
that time there was no house dance in San Diego, like at all.
Mm.
Like there was like the random rave like that would pop up, you know, and so like I would roll to these parties by myself just to go hear some like techno or house. But there wasn't
Oh,
really any like other dancers that were down to like get down, that I couldn't find them. And luckily I was able to connect with the breaking scene down there, because that was solid, and so
Hmm.
I was able to connect with Optic in China, and like Saki, and like all
Oh
these
yeah.
cats from play school. So that's who, like, I started really getting more introduced and kind of started training, more of like the b-girling and that kind of vibe to breaks and classics and all that good stuff, and
Hmm.
so I was also training a shit ton of capoeira at the time. So
Oh
those
yeah.
were those were my outlets when I was in San Diego. I then moved to New York for about 5 years
Oh.
and was continuing my architecture program there because I didn't really like the San Diego program, and so I was able to finish my degree in New York, and was just soaking up the culture and the nightlife, and
Hmm.
in both the hip hop scene and in the house scene, and and it is fair, it's pretty crossed over, at Shelter and some of these parties in New York. These are the at the time, like, these were notorious parties where everyone went, like the poppers, the breakers, everybody was in there, and it was just a really
Did you?
beautiful thing.
I want to ask you, did you ever run into ex fiends out there? Step
Yeah.
fiends?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Those are the homies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cyclone, like, much love to those guys. Like, they were super cool because that was actually a really challenging time in my life in the dance as well. Again, because in the house community, New York was kind of in an interesting place itself. And,
Um.
like, I wasn't necessarily welcomed. It wasn't
Oh
like
really?
loving arms in the circles. Like, I wasn't even there. I didn't exist, and it was just like, yo, I gotta prove myself to you. Like, nah. So I
That's
continued to
crazy.
go, and I continued to dance, and I continued to share the same ciphers and circles. And, it took about 3 years to finally, like, get some head nods or some acknowledgement from some of the elders in the community. And it was just like, thanks, but
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have changed it for any reason, because it only made me more determined and more stronger to just do my thing for myself and not impress anyone. Like, I was there for the music, I was there for the dance, and now, years down the line, like, I'm actually cool friends with a lot of those people. So it
Yeah.
worked out, it worked out. But yeah, taking in the the culture there of the clubbing and the events, the breaking event jams and stuff, was just super, super awesome to really get that life of New York. That was the early 2000s. I was there for 9/11, and, like, that was traumatizing. And, again, dance was
Mm.
a really great way to process and work through a lot of the
Oh
anxiety,
yes.
like,
Yes.
because the city it's kind of like where we're at now. Like, there's so much anxiety, and everyone is just like, fuck, what do I
Hmm.
do? And so, like, being able to connect with other dancers and just go out and just bug out and let it out on the floor, like, helps so much. But yeah, so, and then from New York, I went to LA. So
Oh, you lived
I
in LA?
I lived in LA for about 2 years. Yeah, and I
Which
just
part of
kind of
LA?
I lived in Alhambra, so it was like East LA, and then I moved to the Valley for a bit. I was in Korea. I was straight nomad for like 10 years, like, I was all over the place. So, like, bouncing everywhere. But, again, just being able to experience different cities' nightlife and, communities was such a blessing. LA didn't
Hmm.
really gel with me overall. So
Oh really?
I had to get out of there. It's just, I tried to do the industry thing, and, like, I would just stand there in, like, a cattle call looking around going, man, I don't want to be doing this. Like, pretending I'm
Oh
drinking a
really?
beer or something, for a commercial. I'm just like, I'm good. This isn't really why I
Oh.
do what I do, and so I ended up
Hmm.
coming back to the Bay, and I think it was '08. So I came back in '08, and just been building here since, and building now. I've, over these past number of years, been traveling a lot, working internationally, working with All the Way
Mm.
Live, Next Level, programs like that I can give back. I ain't got no kids, so I'm kind of like, well, let me at least teach somebody. So been trying to give back in those ways, and
Hmm.
but yeah, being back in the Bay, it's, I'm in Fremont now, so it's kind of like the lower East Bay. It's close to San Jose, close to home base, like, or and then close to Oakland, close to the family up there at Movement Studio, and like the
Okay.
crew, most of the crew is up in that area, in Oakland, Albany area. So it's a good place. You know, we don't go to San Francisco as much as we used to. You know, like
Mhm.
the scene has shifted, and like
Oh
everything,
yeah.
when you wanted to go to dance, 10, 15 years ago, you went to San Francisco. Now you go to
Oh, that was the
Oakland.
place.
Yeah.
You go to Oakland?
Yeah. Oakland's got all the really great parties. San Jose's got a few good, great parties, so it's sprinkled in, but it's
Yeah.
definitely changed.
I want to actually, do you remember a club in San Jose? I don't know if it was in San Jose, but the outskirts called Club X.
Yes, dude. Hardly anybody remembers Club X, or at least I'm just talking to people that are too young. I remember Club X. I remember Club Inn. I think it was in like Saratoga or Sunnyvale or
Mm-hmm.
something. In Club X, yeah, man, like all those
I was
parts
at Club X.
that was,
Had all the dancers. So I walked in there,
yeah,
and the whole club was on the like the UMC's era. Like
yes. Oh, that was
cross
such.
colored.
Yep, that was a good
I was
time.
blown away. I was blown away coming from Little Madeira and going to San
Yeah.
Jose. And
Oh
I
my
had a friend.
gosh,
I have a friend that lived off of Briggsmore exit. No, Macaulay, McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. Yep, yep.
McLaughlin, where the Chuck E. Cheese is at, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I would go over there,
Dang,
and then
that's
from there
crazy.
he said, "I'm gonna take you to this club." I was like, "It's called Club X," and when I walked inside,
Blown away.
yeah, there must have been at least 300 dancers in there.
Yeah, I mean that era. I mean, just that era alone, like fashion, music, dance, like it was so special, and I'd go back any day. Like totally one of those like back in my day, I want to go back. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was a special time. That was a special space for
San,
sure, for
San
sure.
Jose for me, San Jose was probably some of the best experiences that I ever had with hip hop
Oh, that's
because we
dope.
had Jedi Clan,
Yep.
Jughead Tribe,
Jugheads.
Soul
Yep.
Fathers,
Yep.
Soul
Yep.
Fathers, Bubla Tribe. Everything was Tribe.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Everyone was a tribe. And then we had uh, the what was it? Oh gosh, I can't.
And Dangerous Image.
Berserks was out. They were
Yeah,
more mid bay, but Berserks was there too. And then we had our crew, Threat of Physics, TOP.
yeah.
So,
You know what?
yeah,
Dangerous Image was huge in San Jose.
yeah, yeah. I remember Dangerous Image. That's right. That's crazy.
Dangerous Image was huge, though. I remember seeing all these Filipinos, everybody doing routines like,
Yeah, all like the
oh,
showcases. That was a good time.
yes,
Jugheads were always my favorites. Like I always
Jugheads.
remember, yeah, like some of those cats that I still know and get along with today. I'm always like, tell me about back in the day.
Yeah. So you know what? That day that I seen you, like me, and I took me, Ramine, Crumbs, and Gons, and they said, let's go to the Cactus Club, and Iko was on the mic. And
Yeah,
she was like, yeah, welcome to the Cactus Club. They had all these acts. And I
yeah, that
remember,
was a dope night.
yeah, we opened up the circle and like that's when everybody was dancing. And I seen you. And I was just like, when I was filming you, I was like, yeah, this guy can dance. You kept saying, like, no, don't push me out. They were pushing you out. You're like, oh. These guys were trying to grab on you. And I remember you was like, don't touch me, don't touch me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It happened. I got shoved in a lot. I was
Mm-hmm.
intimidated a lot of the time. Like Aiko was always on the mic. I never really got to see her like get down with us, and like,
Yeah.
but they would always just shove me, go dance, and I was like, oh god, and I was
Mm-hmm.
intimidated, but that's what like it was like working under that pressure just made me want to be a better dancer and just like dance harder and dance more, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna battle any of these guys, like, let's go.
Yeah.
So that
You know,
was a good time.
I want to share that you, out of everybody I ever seen do the hollaback, Seth was the first person I ever seen do the hollaback.
Hmm. Yeah, man, I
He was
mean
clean that
that
his legs were like straight. His legs are like straight. And I was just filming him. I've never seen that freeze before. That was
dude,
mind blowing.
we practiced that shit non-stop back then, like everywhere we go, okay, let's go, everybody's practicing. But Seth, man, I mean, like with Seth, like the capoeira, like that was his calling, you know, like that
Mm,
movement was his call, is his calling to this day, you know, like he just is so beautiful in that movement and so comfortable in it and so controlled and but still like free with it, you know, like it's so inspiring to watch him. And even back then it was just like we'd all be trying the same thing and he would just was like getting it. I'm just like, man, like this fucking guy. So
that's
we, we
crazy.
we knew early on like that was gonna, you know, something in there was gelling right for him for that, you know. And it kind of it worked out. Each of us had kind of our own, you
Hmm.
know, own thing that was best for us in our movement, you know. So
Yeah,
it's cool to look back.
yeah. Question, I want to ask two questions though. Like, were you a part of Circle Fire, or were you just Soul Shifters though? Like, were you Circle Fire then transition Soul Shifters?
So long story short, I guess. So when we were all when the guys were all here in the Bay, we were all Threat of Physics. So it was Bob
Oh,
the
Threat of Fifth.
Balance, yeah, Threat of Physics, TOP, and it was Bob, Seth, Gabi, Vid, Gravity, and myself. We were all technically this crew, and then eventually a bunch of them ended up moving up to Seattle, where they all connected with Fredo and Orb, you know,
Okay.
and Latif and Rob and all those guys, and so you know, and Cody, and you know, like they started Circle of Fire, and you know, I
Mm,
was still back here in the Bay, and honestly, I was so crushed, you know, I was just like, damn, they started this without me, you know, and I felt so
yeah.
left out, but you know, at that time was actually right around the time where I was about to leave the Bay, you know, and kind of do my
Mm,
own thing. And so I was kind of like, all right, you know what? We're still family. We still have the same philosophies. We still are like one unit, although I'm not particularly repping the name Circle of Fire because
oh,
they were in a different place, and that's when they started traveling and doing Battle of the Year and all that stuff, you know,
mm,
that like changed the game, you know. And I kind of was like, that's when I went off and was creating my own identity, you know, which ended up becoming Tsunami. And, you know, but
mm,
we were still constantly like connected and in the loop. You know, and they were just kind of like, no, you're family, like you're down, you know, and but I never really technically like repped Circle of Fire. But I
okay.
mean, the roots of it, we were all one family, one crew, you know. And so then a couple of years later down the line, when they started when Fredo and the fam started Soul Shifters, they were like, yo, you're down, da 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 da. So I started repping Soul Shifters. And,
Okay.
you know, and then, gosh, I don't even know. It's been a number of years now, but they finally did kind of like, because I was still always like throwing low blows, like, man, how come I'm not Circle of Fire, you know? So
Yeah.
they finally made an official like little ceremony, kind of special, like all the crew was there and like just gave me the blessing as being an official, you know, member of the fam. And so like now I'm proud to represent it, not like because before I didn't feel like I was like, no, that was your guys' thing. That was what you were all on a mission to change some shit, you know, and I was doing my thing. So, but now that we're all fully back together, like as a unit again, in some ways, I guess it feels more appropriate or comfortable to fully rep the Circle of Fire name, you know, and so, but
Okay.
you know, it wasn't like I I don't know. It's just like with the two crews, like it's all a lot of the same family. Soul Shifters is way bigger, you know, and by numbers, but like it's still the root is all the same family and same people. So like
Mm,
a name is a name, you know. Like the family
yeah.
is what's more important to me, and that's you know my boys for the most part. And now we have got more women, so it's exciting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, from my understanding, I think Remind said he's Soul Shifters. Is that true?
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
When did he become Soul Shifters too?
Oh man, I um I don't even remember. It's been I think at least 10 years. I'd say
Oh,
nine
okay.
or 10 years that he's been down at least. Yeah, I mean there's 40 solid members in Soul Shifters. You know we're worldwide, and
That's
it's
what's up.
just a shit ton of them. it's crazy, you know, and it started small, and you know, the idea was first to just be a battle crew, and then realizing like, yo, we actually have an artistry collective here of multifaceted people that we've all connected through the dance and through the music, but
Mm,
it's just each of us are doing things in so many different ways, whether it's tattooing, emceeing, music production, architecture, you know, painting, like, you know, capoeira, like all these different like other things than dance that everybody is just constantly, you know, being prolific and building with and bouncing off of each other and being inspired by each other. I mean, it's, you know, it's something bigger than just being a crew. You know, it's
okay.
really it's really dope. You know, and so to and then the last number of years we've been bringing in kind of like some new blood. You know, some fresh
Every crew
creativity or
needs
fresh
that.
talent.
Yes.
You know, so it's dope and inspiring and keeps pushing us old ones. So,
Yeah. Oh, and actually too, so how was you and Cody's relationship since you guys are both in the same crew though? Like was she new to you? Like when she became a part of Circle of Fire, or you always knew who she was?
Cody, no, she was new to me. I mean, you know, when Bob and the guys were in Seattle and they met Cody and they, you know, she became kind of like, you know, a fixture of the family as well up there, you know, and so, you know, she was new and I was kind of like, who's this chick? You know, I was like, wait a minute, you know, totally being the brat and but I realized, you know, she brought so much to that time and to that crew and you know, so like she again also is family. So we, you know, over the years, like she inspires me, I inspire her, and you know, like it's been, you know, a real blessing to have her in the family and a part of the family. You know, like when we did our 20-year anniversary 2 years ago, or
Mm,
gosh, I think 3 years now. 3 years ago, like they did an interview with her and she told a story that I didn't really even know, but I guess Bob had shown her some of like my older footage of us at Cactus Club or wherever. And she was, you know, kind of saying like, without seeing that, she goes, I wouldn't have, I think it was something like, you know, like being inspired by the way of still being like soft and feminine about about movement, but still being badass and strong, you know, and
yeah.
like still being able to hold it down. And you see that in her movement, you know, like when she's freaking on her hands, it's a wrap, you know, and it's beautiful, but it's also so strong and so, you know, like I can't mess with her. You know? Like, so, you know,
Cody brought
it's
a lot of she brought Circle of Fire like it was just something amazing. Like
yeah,
when I would see her because she had attitude and she wouldn't back down. I remember
yeah,
when it was Circle of Fire versus Soul Control and
yeah.
after Cujo, it was
Yep.
so crazy.
Yeah, that's some priceless footage right there for sure.
Yeah. So for yourself though too, like who inspires you that you look up to, like guy or female that you say, you know what, like this is because I have people that I really like though too, and I want to know
Yeah.
like who are some of your inspirations?
I mean, inspirations in the dance community or just at large or what do
There
you
was
mean?
okay. There's a question. Somebody said, "What year?" Not Loki asks, "What year did Cody join Circle of Fire?"
Cody the girl or Koflo?
Yeah,
We got two Codys now.
Cody the
Cody
girl.
the girl. She was one of the original members. She started when Circle of Fire started. She was one of the original seven. So
And what year was that?
that was gosh 98, 97, 98, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, what I was asking was like, who is some of the not who is some, but who do you like that inspires you today as a dancer?
As dancer, um, oh man, there's so many. I love everybody.
Yeah.
You know, couple of my two favorites that I absolutely love and could watch all day is Lady C and Nene, the Nubian Nene. Like those are my two. I mean, I literally could watch them all day because they're so versatile. Also, they're not just one style, and they both have just this. this saucy finesse in their
Mm,
movement. Like it's not forced. You know, they give the dance space, you know, to
mm,
breathe within their own movement and their expression. And I just really, really just admire them so much as like these dynamic, powerful women who are all, you know, like just like amazing personalities and people and just in general, but also like amazing in their dance. So those are I'd say those are my favorites. And they inspire me to keep moving, you know, like I get in my rut. I'm 44 now and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I feel like dancing today, you know, and I'm like, my knees feeling funky, you know, like my back and I just, you know, I'll see them and I'll be like, nah, I gotta keep moving, you know, and
mm.
so like because I swear like I will be that old lady in the club, you know, just getting her gig on if she has to, you know, like it's just too much a part of me now, you know, to not,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, so those are my I'd say I'll name those two.
You said Lady C. I'm not gonna lie, I've never heard of her.
Really? You should look her up.
I know I
She's
am.
Soul Shifters. She's part of the
Oh, she is?
family. Yeah, she's part of the family. She's from Canada. I mix it up like if it's Montreal or Toronto. I think it's Montreal, but she's from Canada. They're both Canadian, but
Oh,
they're yeah. And Nene, are you familiar with Nene? Have you ever seen her?
yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
whacking, breaking, house, like she's a beast, total beast.
Mm,
And Lady C, she's locking, popping, nasty as hell with popping, house.
mm,
Like she's also a fantastic singer. She does a lot of work with Koflo, a lot of the songs that they've done a bunch of projects together. So she's just multi-talented and, you know, like
mm.
beautiful, beautiful voice. So yeah, very inspiring.
Okay, I'm definitely, yeah. I didn't realize you guys had that many members though. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they just kind of keep
I,
coming
I,
together, coming together.
yeah, I thought it was only maybe like you know, Seth, and like Orbis. He's okay. He's Soul Shifters
Hmm.
too. And then
Yeah, actually, his alter ego, Juke Nice, is technically the founder of Soul Shifters. So,
Juke Nice.
Juke Nice. If you've seen his old Free the Soul Shifter, where he's like kind of ninja status,
Oh, okay.
that's the alter ego, Juke Nice. You know he made some old videos. Actually, I think they might still have them on YouTube, where he's talking about he's like walking down an alley and he's like, "Yo, man, like some people say they never seen you know." He's like talking about this guy Juke Nice, and it's actually him. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
pretty yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, we got crewmates, you know, in Japan now. We've
Ooh.
got folks from Florida and Boston, Rhythms and Shade from Florida, and I know Rhythms is in Boston now. We've got folks in Hawaii, Leo Malaya or Joel. You know, Woes, the artist, he's down.
Mm.
Richie Ramirez down in LA, like he's an artist, also a dancer. Like just people are like Mason Rose is a soul shifter. You know, like we got folks from all over the place.
Mm.
So,
What's
yeah.
the real meaning behind that name? It sounds very intriguing. Like, what's the meaning behind the name?
I mean, it's. I think it's evolved from the initial start. I think that when the guys were first starting it, they were going to call themselves the Shapeshifters, and
Yeah,
then
that's what I was
some.
gonna say. Kind of sounds similar to shapeshifters.
Yeah, yeah, and then they realized that was kind of whack, and then I think they ended up changing it to Soul Shifters. But you know, I mean, it kind of goes along with at least for me, it goes along with the premise of us catching, you know, the Circle of Fire, you know, mantra of catch the ghost, you know, and being able to shift and adapt and you know again be prolific with all the outlets that we work with and create to inspire and to share, you know, like
Okay.
so you know, like again we're all connected through the dance. That's how we most of us all originally met or bonded or have, you know, created relationships with. but being able to shift and adapt and do all these other creative outlets and things that
Mm.
so that's at least, I mean, everybody may have a little bit of different interpretation. I don't think we've got the written definition, in a book anywhere yet. So we're
Okay.
working on that.
That's cool. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So from what the dance scene that you seen when you first started and today, like, how do you feel about today's dance scene compared to when you first started? Has it evolved to a very high level for you that you see?
Oh, absolutely. It's evolved, and like the level of skill has
Oh
tenfold.
yeah, quadruple.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, and but there's and for me, like, because I am more involved with like the club culture side of things, like with
Mm-hmm.
not just house but just like the nightlife culture, cipher culture. It has in the last few years because of the amount of how or the popularity of competition and how
Yes.
big and how driven people are to want to compete and to win. I think has changed the I don't know if it's the essence of the dances or it's the focus and the intent has changed,
Mm. Yes.
and I feel like the essence and that specialness that we've had always in those ciphers and in those circles, like in the clubs, in the parking lots, like in those spaces is getting lost because less and less people are
Mm.
participating because there's no immediate award, to
Oh
win or to
yeah.
get the most likes or get the most views, things like that. And I think it's really taken away from some of that part of the culture that I love so much, that I look back and I'm like, yo, that footage from Cactus Club, it was so raw and so innocent in our movement because we just didn't know what the hell we're doing. We're just trying to do shit, and like figure it out. And
Mm-hmm.
now there's so much access to learn how to do something, and so many workshops and so many tutorials and so many, this and that. It's so much easier to reach out to someone and be like, yo,
Yeah.
Ken Swift, I need to, can you teach me how to do this? Or tell me about, like we didn't have that, and so
Yes.
I get why and how people have like the level of skill has gone that
Mm.
tenfold, because it's so much more accessible and people are getting shit quicker now than us in a parking lot doing it 100 times. So, and then again the next day and the next day because we're still doing it wrong. Like it's it's kind of those things that I've noticed that have changed so much. But and so like I've struggled over the years,
Um.
the purpose and the idea of all these competitions. I'm just like, damn, like it's sucking the life out of the clubs and out of the culture of the club, and nobody wants to participate in that part anymore. And but then I also appreciate the events, these battles and competitions and stuff, because it is bringing the community together in a way larger scale than probably a club would, and so,
Yeah.
a lot of these events that we go to, I mean, even some of the anniversaries, Blueprint in Houston, or, here in the US primarily, I mean,
Yeah.
there's some really special events that are now becoming more like reunions, and where people from all over are coming together and and inspiring each other. Like I dance totally different sometimes, if I'm in Detroit at an event versus if
Mm.
I'm in LA at an event, because it's just that the energy or the synergy around me is so different in these different places and at these events. So it's just old lady gripe about losing something, but we're still gaining something. So
Yes.
does that make sense? Like at least
Yeah.
that's kind of what I see.
I think it makes sense because like you put it in very good perspective. Like trying something 100 times and not for it not to be recorded and seeing your friends, make mistakes. And now it's like a kid can pick up a move and he'll do that shit like 10 times better than you the same day.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
seemed like it got bypassed, like the struggles got bypassed.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I still, when I teach, I'm like, do the work, like do the work, like do your research, especially now that like everything is so
Hmm.
much more accessible, learn where that move, the root of that move came from. Like, don't just learn the move to learn the move and then move on, and just, get your O's or whatever, like
That's what it is. Oh,
like, oh, but like learn where it came from, learn who maybe not necessarily who created it, because yeah, everything's been done a thousand times, over the generations and generations, but at least find the root from where that move came from and understand it more, and work like it's just, yeah, I get frustrated.
I
So
know.
I'm like, do the work, don't expect this instant gratification of, just trying to learn something super quick. Like, try to figure it out first on your own and then go look at the tutorials, like maybe
Mm,
that'll help, I mean, at least that'll help give you the person the understanding of what a lot of us in the previous years or generations had to deal with, or had to work for, I don't know.
I know you're right though. Do you think the younger generation will actually ever get that, or do you think they have to become older to finally understand it?
Yeah, I maybe they do. Maybe it takes time for them to to mature a little bit, or to settle in their purpose of why they're doing what they're doing, to really want to be open to learn those things, or to want to do those things. Definitely. Um, yeah, because I think I get looks cross-eyed when I'm like, do the work, and they're like, what?
No, I'm doing it already. I'm
I'm
doing
already
it.
doing it. I already got the move. I got like 1290. Don't trip.
Yeah,
So
I think
yeah,
too. Like we were saying earlier too, it's the fast gratification though. It's the instant. Like we
yeah,
can see it prior to like waiting for a tape to come out next year or a whole entire year, and
yeah.
then you learn that move, and then it takes another year for it to be seen. People want stuff in seconds.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's it's part of this whole social media world now of,
And
like everything just being here, and, wanting to be accepted now, like,
yes,
and so it's definitely an adjustment to, or, it takes a bit to get used to that, and to be
yeah,
like, I guess that's okay, but I don't know. It's
I
crazy.
understand it. So, how do you feel about hip hop today? Like for you, because I know like as time move on, things start changing, music starts changing, fashion starts changing,
Right.
opinion starts changing. And then people's like, I have people that, that I came up with, they're like, I'm not into it no more. They're like, I don't like the new stuff. I don't like today's scene. So they're not
Yeah.
participating.
Yeah, I struggle myself. Like, I cannot, I have a really hard time trying to connect and understand this the newest generation of hip hop, to be honest. Like, I'm just like, wait, what? Why are the tattoos and I don't understand, like I can't even understand their what they're saying. And I honestly, like, I listen to very little newer stuff, anything probably past like 2005, like
Yeah.
I'm an old night head, so I still get in my car and I'm playing Tribe Called Quest, and, like from 95, like
Hmm.
I'm, R&B, that type of stuff. And so, yeah, it's challenging, and for myself to try to, like, understand some of this music now, especially like I
Yeah.
don't necessarily, I mean, there with the hip hop dance, yeah, like there's this whole, like, cross breed of choreography world, which is now called
Hmm.
hip hop dance, and there's all that big mess, but like I don't even want to go near that.
I know.
Because to me, like hip hop and hip hop dance, like it's, yeah, it still has that essence from like the 90s, from that golden era. um I feel like, I have a real hard time with the new stuff. Like, I
I
try.
understand.
I try so hard, like in here in the Bay, we have, like the turf scene is great. And like, so like connecting with like Johnny Five and some of these kids to try to like, like be a part and community and like support what they're doing and see some of their events and really like be like, what is it that they're like connecting to this music
Mm,
to release how they do, because it's freaking dope. And same with like, the crumping scene, like all this music is all so different, from
mm,
where we came from, and
mm-hmm.
I never understood that stuff for a long time. And it was, I mean, it was like I got it, but I didn't. And like last year I was out in SAC and for an event, and talking and participating or watching and witnessing a real event, like of just crazy talented, people crumping and stuff. I was just like, I had goosebumps because if I finally could see it, the connection with the music and these people moving and the release that they had, and I was just like, whoa, I
Mm.
get it. This is insane, And so like, I'm hoping that maybe one day, like this newer stuff with in the more like targeted hip hop genre, that I'll get it
Yeah,
or I'll be able to connect to it, but it just hasn't happened yet. So I try though.
yeah, I get it, and like the tattooing on the face and stuff, and I'm just like, for me, all that stuff is like a costume
It is. It's totally. And it's just like
to
you look at
to
that
get
and
a
you're
lot
like,
to get a lot of attention to have everybody look at you.
and there's that instant gratification, right? And then in 10
Hmm.
years, where are those people going to be? What is that music going to be really be doing? How is that going to evolve? Like it's kind of interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, I never really thought about that like that, but that would be interesting to see. But I don't think it would be on the level where Tribe and Dayline and all that's at, to be
I
honest.
don't think so. I don't think there necessarily will be like, you know, the not the anthems, but like just those I almost want to say like tracks that you listen to like religiously in a way,
I
and
know.
that take you back to that one place in time when maybe you first heard that, or I don't know, maybe you do. I don't. These new kids might already have that connection to it, but yeah, I'm curious to see the longevity of this newer music, and where that becomes. Is it going to be a classic? Like who
Yeah,
knows? Who knows?
we'll wait and see. So,
Yeah.
with the situation that happened, like with the virus and everything, like, what has that taught you about yourself, though, too, like in general? Because now you have a lot of time to reflect on your life and with this dance and everything that you've done in the past. Like, what has it like taught you? I was just kind of curious.
I don't know if it's necessarily taught me anything. I mean, I've been fortunate to stay as busy as ever, creatively and with work. And, like, I know a lot of people are struggling like hardcore. And, haven't just been like sitting here just twiddling my thumbs during this whole time. Like,
Mm.
I've been nonstop, like
Oh,
on
really?
the
Yeah.
grind, and but what it is doing is, just making me reflect forward into,
Yes.
the unknown of shit ain't gonna be the same. Everyone keeps saying we're gonna go back to normal, but the normal is not going to be a normal. It's not going to be what it
No,
was at all, So it's like
never.
I'm just kind of like reflecting, like, wow, man, like to be able to have these memories and experiences of being in these clubs and being in these parties and being able to
Mm.
like, just soaking wet sweat and like hugging people and like all of
Yeah.
that is going to be so different now. And it's just like it's kind of like I've been going through up and downs of almost like a mourning period where I'm just been like down, like we'll never have that, and
Mm.
people in the future will never get to know that, so to me that's a really like sad thing. But it's also like just this unknown of what is it going to be like, once we do are able to reconnect with people, closer than 6 feet, or, like a
Yeah.
hold an event, like as a event producer, as a, you know, event supporter, like just knowing the impact this has all done to like all these events that we've had scheduled and, you know, to do, whether booked to perform or judge or just go, like it's just heartbreaking, you know. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, I've just been reflecting on all of that, like the impact of just like the spirit of what we do and what we love, you know. So
Yeah.
that's really where my reflection's been, you know. Like I said, you know, I've been staying creative, I've been pushing through painting and dancing and drawing, and we, you know, my co-flow, my husband and I, like we host the simmer room every Wednesday, like a Zoom party session, you know, to just to try
Oh,
to
okay.
get people to connect again. And you know, we share the dance videos and on YouTube, and you know, it's
Oh,
just
really?
it's
Okay.
a fun party. Yeah, it's every Wednesday from 6 to 8. And you know, it's just like we're still trying to bring people together the best that we can, you know. And I mean, the internet is so saturated now with everybody streaming, so it's tough to be able to pick where you want to go, you know. But you
I
know,
know.
it's that's just kind of like we've just been trying to stay up, you know, and keep creative.
Hmm.
So that's how it is.
What did you have going on for 2020 in the future? Like, if this wasn't happening, like, did you guys have stuff planned for the summer?
Yeah, we had a lot of things planned. We had just gotten back from Paris for Just Debut, which got
Oh,
canceled.
okay.
You know, Koflo was in the finals with Tony Ray, and the day
Mm,
before at the prelim in Paris, they announced that they were canceling,
yeah.
and so that was devastating. So when we were we had literally like I think 6 or 8 weeks booked of every weekend an event.
Oh,
Portland,
really?
in Portland, Houston, LA, New Mexico. You know, like we had events going I was traveling every weekend for like 6 weeks straight, but that
Mm,
all went away. And then in June, you know, I was headed to New York. For Ladies of Hip Hop, I was super, super stoked to get
ooh,
back to New York, you know, but we're actually, I think it's in the works now, but Michelle's trying to work out some online event. So Ladies of Hip Hop is still tentatively happening, and I may still get to
okay.
judge. So that's really
Oh,
dope.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, we were supposed to go to Canada, DC, you know, like we had a lot of different things going on, and that's all gone. And then we were also preparing to host a house dance festival in the end of August,
Mm,
but we're postponing that. And then also Sour Patch Crew was supposed to have their anniversary in October, but because of all the things that were being canceled all summer, everything was getting booked in Arizona the weekend we had already booked out. You know, so Louis Vega is going to be at Solstice, and you know, World of Dance is going to be there that same weekend. So we were like, nah, we'll just postpone Sour Patch anniversary to for a later date. You know, because there's just too
mm.
much shit going on. So it's been this whole year has just been like wiped as far as a lot of those things, you know, opportunities. But what can you do? You know,
So,
so
so you probably won't be like going to stuff physically, maybe not until maybe sometime next year, if even next year.
probably it seems like it's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
till the end of the year, maybe that
Yeah.
we'll be able to really start traveling, and even then we just don't know. It just constantly is changing. It seems so.
Even with
We're just kind of
restrictions though, too. Yeah.
yeah, you know, and like it's like we could risk flying someplace later in the end of the summer or something, but we just don't know. It's just so unknown what's going on, you know. So we're just kind of
Yeah.
we'll be here, you know, and do what we can, support online, and that's
Yeah.
it, you know.
So how do you keep yourself inspired like every day?
Um, I have, I don't know, Pinterest is my friend.
Okay.
You know, like watching I don't tend to watch a lot of like battle videos, competition videos.
Mm-mm.
I'm not a big fan of watching those, but I do like to watch, you know, older dance clips and things. That some of my top 10 videos or whatever are like way
Yeah.
old dance videos or dance movies and things that
Yeah.
inspire me, you know. And so I'll just play it. I've
Yeah.
watched it 1,000 times, and I watch Hackers, the movie from, like I've seen that movie 1,000 times, but I put
Oh,
that on
really?
and I just go into my zone, like if I'm drawing or painting or whatever. And, like it's just like, and then also just being here with Koflo, like we bounce inspiration off of each other. He's constantly in his music studio working, producing
Mm.
music, remixes and stuff. So like I hear him working, so I'm like, shit, I gotta get work, and I'll start working on
Yeah.
something too, So it's a mixture of things, really, and I have books and things that I've always just used as an inspiration of just getting my brain going, and I'll look at
What kind of
those.
books do you read?
What?
What kind of
What
books
kind?
do you read? Or what are you
Um,
reading?
they're I'm not necessarily reading. They're picture books.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're like, like visionary architecture books or
Mm.
costume design books, like things that
Yes.
can like just get my brain sparking for just wanting to make something. And then like from
Mm.
there, I'll be like, huh, maybe if I sculpted this, I could make a mask. Or, like, I don't know if you can see like some of these things back here, like
Oh,
masks and stuff that I've made, and headpieces and like costumes. Like I love making that stuff. So like I'll look at these like different books of my favorite designers and stuff, and just like paw through them and just be
mm.
like, oh, what if I did that, and it just
Yeah.
sparks. So I use those resources a lot, you
That is so cool. I like how you
know.
just like you're staying active, and I catch myself too. Like my favorite movie is B Street. I love B Street. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you know what? I'm not feeling like the vibe. I'll put on B Street, and B Street just sparks me though. You
There it
know?
is. Yep.
Yeah, 'cause I seen B Street when I was a kid, and like just to watch Lee and like the whole fashion and subway train. I love
Yeah.
graffiti. I
Oh, for
love
sure.
graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I was just
So,
watching something the other day, and they were on the train, and the train was like super. I can't think what it was. Oh, maybe I think I just watched that Nas documentary, and I think it
oh
was like
yeah,
a clip on it or something, that they were on the train. The train was just jacked, and I was just like,
yeah.
man, like New York in the '80s, like must have just been nuts,
I
like.
know.
But the graffiti is just so cool. But I feel you.
Yeah, I love graffiti because I love colors. I like to see arrows. I like to see wild style. I like to see like just bubbles and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that
My
like
my
colors.
homegirl out in Arizona, Rose, MF Rose, she's Sour Patch. She does a
Oh,
lot
okay.
of graph lettering and stuff, and like we always will kind of bounce off of each other too. Like our styles are totally like, I don't do graph. She that's her thing, that's her sauce, and but we'll always
Mhm.
be like, yo, we're about to tap into the art matrix, like let's go, and like we'll kind of like be working at the same time, and like seeing like, yeah, like all the bright letters. And I think I have some of her pieces
Yes.
in here.
Something?
I got a little She got a little train up there. So we always like bounce off, but her pieces are cool with the bubbles and the just the line work, and the colors alone are always like super dope. So
Yeah.
that's cool. So nice.
Thank you, girl. You got me so pumped up today. Sunday was just gonna be a
Yeah.
day, but when you wrote me, I was just like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to do it. I want to do it
Cool,
because I'm not
cool.
gonna lie, like doing all these interviews after a while, you start getting tired.
Yeah. I bet. I
Like
mean, it's a lot, right? It's a lot.
when I hit the 100 mark, I feel like somebody that finally hit the finish line, like, and
Just
I'm just like, maybe I can,
huge. Are you
yeah, maybe,
gonna archive and like, put all the stories together in some way, or
yeah,
document it like YouTube or something,
yes,
or dope, dope.
yes. And eventually, what I want to do is that I want this to be at a high level where I can start doing this like professionally, like in the studio.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I want a professional camera crew. I want professional videographers. I
yeah.
want to like a staff. I want to be like the wake up show, but like
Hell
for
yeah, that's dope.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Koflo and I, we've been over the number of years, been slowly like chiseling away at like a historic preservation project of just the Bay Area culture, and like it's just so much work. So I respect you for the fact that you've already done
Yeah.
100 interviews just in the last like couple months. Like that's massive. And yeah, like the just the